Hey guys, it's Chris and welcome back to another Witcher Season 2 video. This time, The Witcher has now dropped the full trailer. So let's go into it and break it down for Season 2, which comes out December the 18th, I believe. That's the release date. So getting very close, and I really look forward to it. You can definitely tell by this trailer that, as I said before, they definitely have a higher budget. Things look a lot better, and we're going to see a lot more magic. But first, really quickly, I have a reminder for everyone. I do have a book out now called The Crimson Gods. It was released October the 18th, so if you like medieval fantasy, high fantasy / dark fantasy mixed in there a little bit as well, pick up a copy of The Crimson Gods. And for everyone who has gotten it already, I really appreciate all the support, and do me a huge favor and go over to Amazon and leave a honest review if you don't mind. That would mean a lot, and it does a lot to help push the book out to other readers. So thank you guys so much for the support on the release of my first novel. All right, so let's get into this trailer here. Of course, Season 2 of The Witcher will cover The Blood of Elves. That is the first Witcher novel. The first books were short stories, as we saw in Season 1. But as I mentioned in previous videos, we still will definitely see the short story A Grain of Truth during Episode 1, mostly, I believe, that I broke down in a previous video. I will have a Witcher playlist in the description below. So in the beginning here of this trailer, we do have Nivellen speaking, his voice over here. This, of course, is Tormund Giantsbane from Game of Thrones, narrating about the end of days. This is, again, from the short story A Grain of Truth, a kind of a darker retelling of Beauty and the Beast, and this will likely all be during Episode 1. So we finally see Geralt fighting Verina. Verina is the Bruxa, which is a higher type of vampire in the world of The Witcher. And again, I did break this down further in the Grain of Truth video, and again, that will be in the Witcher playlist. But what I like here about this trailer, we're seeing Geralt use more signs. Witcher signs are basically magic they use in combat. We have Axii, Igni, Quinn, Yrden, and Ard are the main ones, although there are 3 more that are rarely used. And I do have another video, of course, that I broke down all the signs and what they mean and how they're used, and of course where we saw them during The Witcher Season 1. So again, that link will be in the description below. But we do see here that Geralt is using Quinn, and think of Quinn as a mini force field stopping the sonic blast she's directing at him. Again, a Bruxa is a higher form of vampire that takes the form of young women usually, but its natural form is a large bat-like creature that we see later on in the trailer. Either way, we're definitely going to see some more monsters this season, and I think they'll look a lot better too, with the budget being dramatically increased, I'd imagine, from the success of Season 1. We hear Nivellen talking about things changing, the North being at war with the South, and basically what he's referring to here is Nilfgaard trying to take over the whole entire continent, and essentially, without getting into too many spoilers, Nilfgaard, as we know from last year, is looking for Ciri because of her elder / elven blood. We see a shot here of Geralt and Ciri riding to Nivellen's house. This is going to be his manor, and they are changing this up a bit as Ciri was not with him in the short story in the books, but we do see him holding his silver sword for the Bruxa as he's about to fight. As you may know, Witchers use a regular steel sword for people and a silver sword for monsters, although a lot of people are monsters themselves, and that's kind of the theme of the whole damn series. And as you can see as well, he's in Nivellen's courtyard here during Episode 1. Then we see what I believe is going to be the capital of Nilfgaard, called the City of the Golden Towers, which we have not seen previously. This again is the capital of Nilfgaard, also called Nilfgaard City. This is where the Emperor lives and all that good stuff as well. And later on in the trailer, I believe we do see Fringilla walking through that inside somewhere. We see the giant tree in the hall at Kaer Morhen, where all the Witchers are trained in the School of the Wolf, and this is where they hang all the medallions of their dead Witcher companions. And during this scene, they're all vibrating, indicating something weird is going on, because a Witcher's medallion does vibrate in the presence of monsters. But this is more than likely going to be when they have a little scuffle with Ciri, so to speak, that we'll talk about in just a few minutes. We see Yennefer and Fringilla and all the other mages that were apparently captured by elves. Although elves and humans were not the original species to the continent, they did arrive during the conjunction of the Spears, which was the ancient event that I talked about before that brought magic to this world as well. Since then, of course, like many stories, the elves have been subjugated by humans, so for the most part, they do live in the outskirts of society. Next, we see what looks like to be the Pyramid in Meereen from Game of Thrones, but of course, this looks like to be it's actually Aretuza, and this is where Yennefer trained to be a sorcerer in the first place. We did see Tissaia as well in several shots reunited with Yennefer after the Battle of Sodden Hill, where they thought Yennefer died last season. And then we see someone seemingly to be in Kaer Morhen during perhaps the training of Ciri, using the magical sign Igni, as I spoke about before. I mentioned this last year, and in the signs video I talked about before as well, that I would hope to see more signs, specifically Igni this season, and it looks like we'll get to see that. We see more of the fight that's broken up throughout the trailer between Geralt and Verina, and here we see her true form as a big-ass bat that Geralt ducks and sticks the silver sword through its damn gut from behind. And then we see a shot of Ciri here where it looks like she's been at the School of the Wolf for a while at Kaer Morhen. We do see the earlier shots, for example, when she's taking the training sword. That's going to be very early on in the season. And then this one looks like it's going to be after she's been here for a while, done some training, as she starts to talk about Geralt and the other Witchers as her new family since her home Cintra was destroyed. Of course, this takes a while, but they eventually grow on her. But again, as far as Ciri goes in this trailer, we do see many shots of her first taking the training sword. That's going to be very early on during her training, obviously. And others are going to be later on in the season where she's trained for a while. And that's what she's talking about in her voiceover, is taking up the fight. And remember, Ciri never has to take the Witcher trials as far as to make her a full-fledged Witcher. And I just did a video on that as well, explaining the trial of the grasses and actually what makes a Witcher a Witcher. So again, that will be in the link in the description below in the Witcher playlist. But Ciri doesn't need to with her untapped power due to her Elder or Elven blood. She will be the baddest of them all, trust me, the biggest badass of the whole continent when she unlocks her potential. We see Yennefer talking to Fringilla about Nilfgaard using her for what they want, referring to Emperor just wanting Ciri, essentially. Now, of course, at this point, she may not know that, but of course, we all know from last season, that's what Nilfgaard wants, is Ciri because of her Elden blood. Now, we'll not get into this anymore as it will be a major spoiler as to why they want Ciri, so there is a big twist coming eventually. Let's just say the Emperor Emir of Nilfgaard used to use a different name. We see some other Witchers here. We see Lambert and Colin with Ciri during a shot here during some training apparently, while we hear the Fringilla voiceover talking about Nilfgaard rebuilding their forces. And next we have a pretty big reveal as we see the Sorcerer Rience, who is essentially the biggest antagonist of the book Blood of Elves, and looks like he will be in Season 2. He's essentially working for Nilfgaard as well, but doing it on his own, as their whole purpose is to find Ciri. We see some Geralt fight scenes here that look pretty damn badass, and of course he's using Quinn here, again using more magical signs, which I'm happy to see. And remember, Geralt's fight scenes from Season 1 were pretty damn hardcore, pretty brutal, and I thought the fight choreography was outstanding. There's also a shot of him in here fighting someone from Nilfgaard, and it looks like they finally got rid of that ballsack armor and got an upgrade. Then we see this strange scene from Kaer Morhen as all the Witchers, including Vesemir, have apparently taken potions as their eyes are all black to fight who I think is going to be Ciri, losing her shit. Remember, like Season 1, she does not understand, much less know how to control her powers yet. So I think she unwittingly here releases something onto them where they have to defend themselves, so she can be a damn ticking time bomb. So this looks to be like Cohen, Eskel, Vesemir, and Lambert as well, all getting ready to take the wrath of Ciri. Next we see an elf who I think is going to be Francesca. She's going to be a pretty major character, I believe, in Season 2, where she is essentially an elf queen and yet another powerful elf mage. She does fight to free the elves, but also kind of works along with the Emperor of Nilfgaard as well. So I do think she's going to be a part of that convoy that captures Yennefer and Fringilla. We see a shot of Ciri and Yennefer riding together, obviously much later in the season after they've come together with Geralt. The editing in these trailers can be a little bit tricky because obviously at this point Ciri has not yet met Yennefer, and Yennefer becomes kind of a mother figure to her as well. We see some others from last year, including Triss Merigold and Stregobor. Stregobor is going to continue to be a character that's causing trouble as usual, and Triss has a bit more of an accurate look now to the books. We see her hair is actually red this year, and she's wearing the typical green dress, so it seems like they changed her up a bit. Now Triss also comes to Kaer Morhen quite a bit to help Ciri in her training. Then we see a character called Nenneke. This is an old sorceress that Geralt has known since he was very, very young. When he goes to her to help Ciri out with the magical aspect of her training, we hear her voiceover as well during the fight at Kaer Morhen, where I think Ciri has unknowingly caused a shitstorm, and this is why the voiceover from Nenneke is talking about her power, and that you, being Geralt of course, cannot help her. We see Geralt and Ciri fighting Groot. We do have a Marvel crossover here. And of course, I'm kidding, this is actually a Leshen, a type of forest spirit that's featured in The Witcher 3, so they're going to be a little shout-outs to the game here as well, although the game is not considered canon. But yeah, it does look like fucking Groot. And then at the end of this trailer here, of course, we see our boy Jaskier, or Dandelion from the books, who reunites with Geralt once again, leaving behind some new friends. Jaskier is always getting into trouble because he's thinking with the wrong damn head. Anyway, guys, this is The Witcher Season 2 full trailer. Comes out December. Looks really, really good. Let me know what you think in the comments below. As usual, thank you for all the support, especially you guys on Patreon. And a huge shout out to my executive Patreon SmokeScreen producers. And of course, if you dig what I do here, please give these videos a like, comment, and a share. And please make sure you're subscribed to the channel, as we will be covering The Witcher, The Mandalorian, all the Star Wars spinoffs, as well as House of the Dragon coming up next year as well. So thanks again. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you next time.